And this is what we are faced with. And this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
What do you have to lose? You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. You have no jobs. 58% of your youth is unemployed. What the hell do you have to lose?
Report live from the other side of America.
So we have to have a new approach, a new appraisal. And this new appraisal and new approach has to be in tune with the reality of the conditions that we are in.
Report live from the other side of America.
And everything in my society taught me that white people were better than black people. Yes, but this is just about past systemic racism.
Strategize, organize, and mobilize.
So what if the guy threw a shoe at me?
Plain Cochan with the language. It takes two to tango. As soon as these go, we go.
Report live from the other side of America.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on, Keith? What's good, man? We live.
What's up, boss?
We live.
How y'all doing?
Hey, yeah, man. All right, cool. If anybody, if you can see this right now, let us know what city are you in. We're trying to figure this thing out. I'm trying to do something unique here, man. I'm trying to get caught up with Facebook and how it works, brother. Yeah,
man, it's an ongoing process, man. Because every time you get one thing, then something else, they generate something else, man.
Well, you're right. Hey, check this out. The craziest thing in the world happened, man. While I was getting everything set up, lightning just struck out of nowhere. Knocked everything out, man. We got Zach Jackson in the building, man. We appreciate you checking in from Alabama.
What's up, Zach?
In the building, man. What's going on, Zach? Glad you made it tonight. I knew Zach was gonna show up for this one.
We got Natasha Dukes from Thomasville.
Hey, Natasha, how you doing? Good seeing you again. Glad that you made it. Hey, y'all make sure that you share this. Yeah, Keith, I'm sitting there trying to do these watch parties, man. My ADHD kick in. I can't do like 5 things at once. I got to really focus, especially on the topic that we got at hand tonight. I'm glad you're not having any technical difficulties yet.
Do not speak too soon.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. All right, cool. We're glad everybody made it so far. Once again, let us know what city you are in. We are very interested to find out. You know, we had quite a few people that check in from time to time. We just like to be nosy and see exactly where you checking in at, find out how far our reach actually goes. All right, cool. If this is your first time coming here, first time joining us, just know that I am Jason, Coach Jay Hunter, and my co-host here, Mr. Keith McIntyre, you know, and this is Shift. The new world is here. Jay sometimes I want to say something, sometimes I just hold my peace. And that's in your matter of fact, let me put you on the screen, Zach. Let me put you on the screen, right? You know, Zach says sometimes he want to say something, sometimes he just hold his peace. Sounds like a wise young brother.
Yeah,
you learning.
It's best not to say nothing at all.
Yeah, you definitely learning, brother. Definitely. Okay, I see you started another watch party, man. Appreciate that, Keith. Yeah, if anybody's out there, make sure you share this. We about to dive into this very interesting topic of today, which is Karen. What is wrong with Karen? We gonna dive into it. Okay, we got Shalita Shante checking in for Hillsborough Beach. Glad you made it today, definitely. All right, cool. So we're gonna find out, we're gonna address this topic here. I think it's a very interesting topic. Appreciate you sharing that right there, Zach. Appreciate you sharing that video, man. All right, cool. Anybody else? Go ahead and check in and we'll get this party started. We got some more people joining in. All right, cool. But like I said, if you're tuning in for the first time, this is Shift, the new world. And Shift was put together as something that we came up with as an idea to be able to create a platform to where we can discuss real world issues in real world time. You know, by discussing these issues, having this dialogue and this communication, especially with real people, we're able to get down to the bottom line and start really seeing things for what they truly are. We can look at some situations and get to a place to where we can agree to disagree. We can also collectively start putting people together that come up with these great ideas and start actually solving some problems that are out there. That's the whole point. So that's why we are here. All right, cool. So with no further ado, before this thing, now we here to talk about Karen, right, brother?
Uh-huh.
We are here to talk about Karen. I see it popped up on the screen. Dane Denard likes your live and shelters. Hey, I'm glad you're checking in. Glad you're checking in. We got a few people checking in on the private group. We're glad that you made it today. Dr. Denard, Dr. Dane Denard, phenomenal. He did a phenomenal live last night with Nicole Everett out of Tallahassee, conversation with Nicole and with Jay English. You know, three phenomenal people, man. But they touched on the mental health aspect of a lot of things that black men in particular deal with. You know, I mean, I started watching, I was like, man, you know, he hit things dead on the head. So I'm glad that he's joining us tonight. All right, cool. Yeah, so with no further ado, before we start discussing Karen, the first thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna bring to the attention, you know, something that I noticed that actually happened. Let me see. Yeah, let me see if I can do this right. Something that actually occurred without me even trying, right? Okay, you can see my screen. All right, cool. Okay, you see where it said Jason Hunter. All right, July 11th, 4:27 p.m. This is interesting, man, right? I took screenshots of what actually happened and transpired, right? So I'm gonna try to explain without having to do too much. But basically, man, what ended up happening, you see the amount of comments, 93 comments on this thing, right? You see that?
Yep.
Okay, I'm not gonna show every single thing, but this what happened, right? I wrote this post, this long drawn out like book or diary or something, you know, you know, 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Respect, brothers. Okay, we definitely got somebody from the private group. I believe that's Brother Bernard. Yes, sir. Respect to you too. But look, man, I wrote this post like 6 years ago. Not 6, it was 2016. I wrote this post. But I mean, the thing was like a book, you know, and really, I was coming from a place of trying to really explain a perspective, but I was backing it up with actual evidence and everything else. You know, if anybody that knows me, when it comes to writing, my writing game is like A1. You know what I'm saying? Like I always got A+ on my papers, you know, all the way through school. You know, even in the college, you know, when I started college and all the colleges I went to, when it came to English, bro, my term papers always got like A+. I was, you know, that was just one of my gifts, right? Writing. So I shared something on Facebook 4 years ago, bro. And it's a man, you know, this older man out of Georgia that he decided to share it. You know, he just decided to share it out of nowhere. I don't even know how he stumbled across it, but he decided to share it. And when he did, man, this guy named Danny, this guy named Danny, man, just came out of nowhere and said, boo hoo hoo. You know, it's sad. You always want to blame people for your problems, and then this is a deal for me, bro. Whatever you do, no matter what, man, I respect all people, especially people that respect me. I give respect where it's due. But the one thing that's completely evident that I am a black man in America. There's no way around it, right? And the one thing that you don't do to any black man in America is to ever tell him that he should pull himself up by the bootstraps, especially if you don't know. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know me, you have no right to even comment on my life. And, you know, he gave unwanted advice from the very beginning, right? So anyway, I went ahead and kind of real shortly, because I already saw this guy was not wrapped too tight, you know, or really his mindset, he wasn't open to actually hearing, you know, he wasn't open to having a man-to-man discussion. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I just went ahead and addressed it point blank, period. And he took it how he took it, and somewhere along the way, you know, only thing he heard was pick up teeth off pavement. That's all. And this guy, man, literally went on for 2 days in a row, just coming, like all these other people were seeing it, and they were joining in on the conversation and trying to like expose different things to the guy he never once considered anything that anybody said.
Wow.
You know, yeah, man. I mean, 2 days. I'm like, brother, you got too much time on your hands. You got 2 days to spend right now, man, and you must already be well off or something. I don't have 2 days to get no conversation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nah, but it was very interesting. So I had to share that about Danny before we go into Karen. You get what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of Dannys out there and there's a lot of Karens out there too. You know, and I really want to approach it from more of a situation of kind of being respectful and tactful, but at the same time being real. So with all that being said, if anybody is able to view this, and check your watch parties too, because I can't see all the comments. So if anybody is able to view this, what I like for people to do is, because this conversation came up to where some people felt that Karen, using the term Karen, should be considered as a racial slur. Should using the term Karen be considered as a racial slur? You can comment yes or no. Comment yes or no, please. Should using the term Karen be considered to be a racial slur? You know, if you type something in, it takes us probably about 10 to 15 seconds for us to see it. You know, so just we'll give you a couple seconds. I want to see if anybody else want to chime in on that before we get started.
So for the people who don't know
what Karen is, okay.
What Karen is? Who Karen is?
You asking me?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm glad that you mentioned that, right? And okay, Karen came about, and I will share some on the screen. We probably just get to this simply, but Karen came about with when there was issues that started being exposed and coming to social media and then made to the national media, where you had it is typically a white woman who, for whatever reason, is usually accusing someone of doing something to her, right? Of playing the victim. 9 times out of 10, Karen had no right to claim the victim because almost 99% of the time, Karen was the person who started it. You get what I'm saying? So Karen pretty much brought on herself, and then now when everything comes back to Karen, Karen throws up her hands and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe you did this." It wants to cry victim. So that is typically Karen. You know, so literally, and I, to be honest with you, I do not know where the actual name originated from. I do know that there is certain legislation that has taken place, and I believe one of the matter of fact, I do know from my understanding, one of the ladies' names that actually called the police on a brother that was minding his own business. She made a false call to the police. It was a police report that was given and everything, the whole nine line. And with the lady's name happened to be Karen, from my understanding. You know, if I right, went everywhere. But that's the question. Do you know anybody? Have you ever had a Karen experience before, Keith?
Most definitely.
I kind of figured that one.
Definitely. Yeah. Everybody, a person that want to throw the blame on everybody, don't want to take no responsibility for what they've done. Oh yes, most definitely, Jason.
Yes. Okay, Shay chimed in, so we know we're not alone, man. I want to hear if anybody else has had a recent experience. You know, has anybody ever had an experience with a Karen that's out there? I know for me personally, I've had several. Shay said she recently just had an experience. You know what I'm saying? I actually posted, there's a video sitting on my wall right now of the incident that happened 8 months ago that I was fortunate enough to actually get it on camera. I got like 1,600 views on it, right? But it was, you know, this lady who's been harassing me and my family for the past 2 years. Literally, you know, like, brother, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I'm 38 years old. The first time I've ever called the police on anybody was on Karen. Right? It was on Karen, man. I had to start calling the police on this lady. Literally, man. You know, because there's no talking. Like, it's you can say whatever. The first thing, oh my God. It was like, man, hey, look, hey, lady, you almost ran over me with a car. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
No, I didn't. What were you doing in the road? That's Karen, dog. You know, so literally I was like, man, saying to myself, like, hey, how do I even handle a situation like this? Because this is really making me think that I'm crazy. You get what I'm saying? The only thing I can do is call the police. That's it. That was the first time literally in my life that I've ever called the police on somebody, man. I done went to court and everything, then pressed charges, wrote out a restraining order, all that, man. You know, like I am 6'4", 220 some pounds, brother. I ain't scared to use these hands, right? I'm saying, but when it comes to Karen literally makes me in fear for my life. You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's my own personal experience, you know, and that was something that was just very, very recent. Now, this is what I'm gonna do. Now I'm gonna share the screen this time, man. And now this is the thing, because we're gonna dive in a little bit deeper. But first we're gonna kind of hit things from surface level, because this is one that's kind of very unique to a lot of people, because it kind of has people feeling a certain type of way of how they view it or look at it. Why do they do this? Okay, there we go. All right, cool. You saw this one, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So she got the gun on me. Okay, white woman charged with assault after pulling pistol on black mother and daughter. Right. So here it is. It was a lady in Michigan, and you see her holding a pistol. Okay, and feel free to comment on this thing and add to this conversation, because I think it's a very unique one, because some people feel that this was a Karen situation. Some people feel that it was not. You know, so we definitely want to hear from people with this situation, this specific situation right here. But you had the lady, right, that she ended up pulling a gun at when it was all said and done. She ended up pulling a gun on a mother, and it was really the mother, you know. But what happened at how you say, what's the name of that restaurant? Is it Chipotle? I have not got it right.
Chipotle's.
You sure, Keith?
Probably.
Okay, sir. We both from Georgia, so you know we don't get stuff right no way. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make sure that we sounded okay. So Chipotle. All right, so it was a family that was going to Chipotle, and at the same time, right, this lady was walking out with her bags because she was leaving the restaurant. Then this teenage girl was walking inside to go and get her food, place her order inside the restaurant. Somehow, some way, the lady apparently bumped into the girl, but she kept walking, and which happens all the time, whatever. But the girl, anyway, the issue was that the girl felt that she was being completely disrespected because you bumped into me, but you gave no explanation of you bumping into me. You get what I'm saying? You ain't stopped to ask, hey, did I bump into you? You ain't stopped to consider, like, oh, are you okay? You know what I'm saying? And you ain't stopped to consider, let me explain to this person to let them know, oh, my bad, I didn't mean to do this. The woman did absolutely none of that. The girl approached her and confronted her. And matter of fact, the mother got involved too, with saying that, hey, look, you bumped into me. Can you just apologize? And it kind of it escalated from one thing to the next. And the woman ended up getting her car, tried to leave. Somehow, all this stuff caught on video. So, I mean, if you need a full explanation, just go look the thing up yourself, you know, if you haven't seen it. But anyway, the woman was backing out to leave, and the mother was standing behind the car. The woman felt that either way, you can look at it from two different sides. So you have one, I'm not going to get into all that, but basically, what I see is that you have a situation, right, that could have easily been resolved one way or another, but it wasn't, and it escalated even more. And the woman jumped out of her car with a gun, right? The husband jumped out on his side with a gun too. You get what I'm saying? And the mother and the daughter, they're shocked, like, hey, oh, you gonna pull out a gun? I'm pretty sure mama wanted to swing on her or whatever. I'm pretty sure it was going to that point.
Get ready to happen.
Yeah, but it got to the point to where you pulled out this gun. You get what I'm saying? So long story short, what ended up happening was the woman was arrested and the husband was arrested as well. Both of them was arrested and charged with felonies. You get what I'm saying? So in this situation, who was right, who's wrong, what was supposed to happen?
Well, for me, the lady,
I'm listening to hear this, Steve. I'm ready to hear it. Come on.
The woman could at least say, if she would just say, "Excuse me," then everything that took place afterwards wouldn't have taken place.
Mm-hmm.
Because from my understanding, all the girl wanted to know was why you brushed into me.
Mm-hmm.
And so had she just said, "Hey, excuse me, I apologize, I didn't mean to do that," and went on about her business, then everything that took place afterwards wouldn't have taken place. But because she didn't, and then this thing now about Black Lives Matter and all this rah up and going on, so any little thing makes somebody pop off.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that she didn't explain and say, excuse me, that pissed the girl off.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you.
So what she did was she began to think about everything that was going on. So now they read the book.
Okay, now let's explore it. Let's explore this side of it too. Because I really don't want to be one-sided before we come to a conclusion. Let's explore this side too. You at a restaurant, and here it is that you get into this same exact altercation or whatever. You might not have been aware that you even bumped into somebody or whatever. You didn't like how the person was coming at you, so you just decide, hey, whatever, leave me alone, I'm going to leave. And you go to leave, but you can't leave because somebody is behind your car running off at the mouth. Do you have the right then to defend yourself by any means necessary? Do you have that right then?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. And that's what she thought.
Yeah, I think so. At that point, either the thing about it is either you gonna put up or you gonna shut up. At that point.
Mm-hmm. And there's a good majority of people that are also really siding with her too, because when the video first surfaced, you had people up in an uproar saying, "Oh my God!" But then they showed the rest of the video, and when they did that, now you can see the full picture. You can see more of what actually happened. So you had people that began siding and understanding exactly where this lady came, where she was coming from. Okay. Exactly. Now, this is the way that I view it, because this is what this show is all about. And it's really looking at things, not just from one side and the other side, but looking at the whole entire picture. That way you can get a better understanding. This is how I see it. And it's really a thing to where this shows you the flaws in society, period. You got to think about it. Where I come from, and even where we come from, we come from the same place. We come from South Georgia. Now, I know for me, I grew up and I have been surrounded by certain environments that operate a little bit differently than what people might have been taught in different places, right? Where I came from, if you bump into me, if you don't check that right then, and I bring it to your attention, you still acting like, hey, what I'm saying don't mean nothing to you, then you completely cross a line that there is no coming back from. Okay, because you completely just looked down on me and said, I ain't even worth talking. You know what I'm saying? So, in other words, in certain cultures, in certain environments, and to certain people, that means that is fighting words. It's the same exact way is that it's just like when I first moved to South Florida, I had to kind of get adjusted to different types of cultures. With when you go into certain businesses, for me, I was taught that a person, when you're doing business with them, they show you respect by when you count out your money, you put it in their hand. When they give you back your money, they put it in your hand. It's a hand-to-hand transaction. But in certain cultures, that is disrespectful. The respect is that I'm going to take the money and slide it. I'm going to slide it on the counter neatly and gently. And that's me showing you respect. There are a lot of cultures in South Florida that practice that method. So when I went into their stores, I thought they were offended. You know, I thought they were trying to be 3/4 slick to me. I took it as an offense. But I literally had to have people that were from that culture that explained to me, oh, no. He's showing you respect. I said, oh man, I didn't know. So here it is. We literally, and I'm not making no justification for anybody, but at the same time, what we have to look at, you can't call United States America a melting pot without expecting for it to melt or expecting for it to actually find a way to blend. Either it's gonna conform together or it's gonna bump heads, but it's always gonna meet. You know, that's just like trying to stir tomatoes into your rice, but you ain't chopped the tomato up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be a totally different type of experience. You know, you ain't chopped up the tomato and you ain't cooked the rice, but you trying to make it fit together. It's not, you can't eat that. You get what I'm saying? Exactly. And that's why I think the conflict really comes into play, is that we are not truly looking at these types of situations and acknowledging the fact that we have not truly been educated to live in a truthful blended society. You get what I'm saying? That's and it can turn into something as somebody feeling so threatened to where the first reaction that they have is to pull out a lethal weapon that can literally take you off the planet of this earth. Behind what? Because you bumped into me? Exactly. The same exact thing when you go to a club. See, it's a number one rule, man. I don't know how it is now. I ain't been to a club in so long, you know. But I used to tell club down, right? I used to tell the club door down when I was younger. You know, the number one rule is you step on somebody's shoe, apologize. Excuse me, bro. I'm sorry. Real quick. Do it fast in the hurry, unless you want those issues, unless you want those types of problems. You know, that was the rule. Soon as you step on somebody's shoe, oh man, my bad, beat them to the punch, because you never know what you're gonna be faced with if you don't. And that's understanding the culture. You get what I'm saying? So what I see is situations like this is more of not so much that this lady was so wrong, and it's not so much that this girl was so wrong either. It was, there is a big old wedge between two cultures. Yeah, you operating in the same exact place. Both y'all were trying to just accomplish the same exact thing. All y'all were hungry. You just want to get something to eat, both of you. But here it is, since you come from two totally different cultures and y'all done collided, it done went from we just came here to get something to eat to, oh man, somebody about to die. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You see how it just sparks out like that? They trying to stand their ground now. Okay, yeah. So I mean, that's that part right there. Let's get into Karen, man. Let's get into Karen. So with your take, and nobody has commented yet, and this is the interesting part, man, when it comes to Karen, because I actually, before we decided to go into this topic, I actually kind of put it out there and asked, you know, do you want to talk about Karen? And some folks like, yeah, let's go. But the other folks like, nah, I don't think it's a good idea. You know, Karen is actually a controversial subject. Because to be real with you, we are literally talking about one group of people. You know, we talking about white women. That's all it is, man. You know, that just being, and that is a very sticky subject, especially when you got two black men that want to talk about black women. White women. Now, if we go down this lane, there are going to be certain people that view us as not having respect for white people, which is not true. Look, we come in just like when I asked you, have you ever had this type? Oh, yep. Have I had it? Yep. Right. Yeah. Have we dealt? Yep. It is a real thing that we experience all the time. Exactly. So let's talk about it. Let's put it out there. Let's address this thing. You know, the thing about this is not really that we're talking about the person,
but we're talking about the behavior. We're talking about the situation at hand. So it's not really based upon a person. It's just the situation.
What's your understanding of Karen, man? Like where this thing really came from? Because I'm gonna take it a little bit deeper in a second. I'm gonna try to connect and bridge the gaps from my understanding.
Honestly, like this is my first time hearing about the actual Karen, but this is not my first time, of course, not hearing about the situation and what happens, because you got a lot of people around here that are always know they did something, but they're gonna always try to find a way to make it everybody else's fault. Even though they knocked down the TV, they're gonna say, well, whoever mounted the TV up didn't mount the TV up safe and secure.
Yeah.
Even though they know they knocked down the TV, they're gonna blame everybody. Well, you shouldn't have bought it from that store. It's probably raggedy anyway. They're gonna try to blame somebody else for what they did instead of just taking responsibility. And even for myself, I have been in a situation where I would try to blame everyone else instead of me saying, okay, well, Keith, what did you do in the situation? How did you take part in the situation? So this situation, I don't know anything about Karen, but I know this situation has been going on since way before I was even born. So
I'm glad you touched on that.
This is a situation that needs to be touched on, because people need to understand that in this day and time, you got accountability throughout every situation that you go through. Every situation that you go through, there's a place where you can say, hey, what was my part in it? You know, not worried about what everybody else did, but what part did I take part in that I could have did better? So, you know, this is a situation that need to be had. This is a conversation that need to be had.
Okay. Now, this is what I'm gonna do, man. I'm gonna take it just a little bit deeper and try to connect the dots a little bit, because I don't care what you talking about, and in order to address a problem, you got to get down to the root of it. So you got to take it back a little bit and see, how did we get to this point? How do we get here? You know, how do we get to the place to where now you have these situations that are being exposed and people are losing their jobs, their livelihoods, they going to jail behind it now, you know, but it hasn't always been the case. They're doing the same exact thing. Some of the stuff is even more trivial. Like it's not even as severe as it used to be, you know. So if we're gonna talk about a Karen, like, right, first we got to go and look back at say an Teal. This is where it gets deep now, because this is what I really want to come out of this conversation. What I want to really come out is that now, because literally you have I want for this conversation to be able to be more comfortable, to be able to have it in actual real world scenarios and real world situations, you know, so that a Karen may be able to kind of look themselves in the mirror a little bit more. If we can get one Karen to just kind of at least look in the mirror and say, oh my God, I can't believe it. Hold on, look at myself. Then we might change one Karen life who could change a whole future situation that could occur. So that's what I want to be able to happen, is that somebody's empowered to really have this real world conversation somewhere else. You get what I'm saying? So like I said, to dig in a little bit deeper, if we're going to talk about today, we got to go and look at a situation like a Teal, right? And if you're not familiar with Teal, that was the young brother that was in Mississippi years and years ago. If you're not familiar, make sure you Google it. You know, but with Teal was killed, and we not talking about just killed. This boy was dragged, beaten, hung out. It was ridiculous, right? What they did to this, like, was inhuman. What they did, grown men did to this little boy, all because he whistled. A white lady said that he whistled at her at the grocery store. Whistled at her. Imagine that. You know what I'm saying? A white woman said, this little black boy whistled at me. So you have a group of men that showed up to this boy's house and drug him out of the house and murdered him, tortured him, mutilated him. all because a white woman just said that this boy whistled at me. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So if we really look at we have to look at the core principles of this thing, right? The situation we talking about here, like this didn't just happen. What we're talking about, you got to take this thing all the way back to where black people in America first had their first encounters with Caucasians in America. That was the first melting pot that that we really experienced for black people in America having interactions with descendants of European people that were in America. Exactly. And that first encounter that we're aware of was actually through slavery. You get what I'm saying? And so on the plantation, we have to keep in mind that with these plantations that our ancestors actually worked on, you have to remember that at any given time, you literally, now depending on the size of the plantation, you could literally have maybe 6 to 10 white folks and then 100 to 300 slaves all on the same plantation at the same time. You hold these folks, you hold these people captive. To think about it. So if you look at it, there had to be certain checks and balances that were in play to keep the group that was outnumbered, for them to be able to always consistently keep control over the slaves that were the enslaved people that outnumbered them tremendously. You get what I'm saying? Because any given time, if they wanted to set it off, they could. You got to look at a Nat Turner situation. It really happened. So at any given time, if these folks, you got to look at it, man. Hey, you got to think about it. Just like, with us working with kids, right, with teenagers and stuff, especially the teenagers, bro. The last thing that you want to have as being an educator or being a community guy is to get the reputation that one of these boys done whooped up on you. Your career is over. All you got to do is take a loss one time to a teenager. Teenager put them hands on you. You will not live that down. It is stuck with you for the rest of your career. You do not. That is the only way that you can maintain that order that you need, because now you're dealing with situations to where you're always outnumbered by a group of people. You get what I'm saying? So It's the same exact context as when we looked at the plantation, right? So here it is that we have to look at with the what they call it, the matriarch, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
The matriarch and the patriarchs.
That were the basically, man, the women were always at the house. Even when the men were going off doing this, blah, blah, the women were always there. At all times, the women had to feel protected as well as be protected by outside encounters of outside forces. The number one most the quicker way to get an early death on the plantation was to do anything that offended a white woman, and that's it. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. It's gonna be dealt with strict and orderly. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's going down today. And a lot of times you got to think about it. If I know that I had this type of protection over me or around me, if somebody comes against me, it's the same as that way that when you grow up and you got this big brother and you got all these brothers and cousins or whatever, and they are killer gorillas, right? All it takes is for you to get into one incident at school and somebody say, hey, I'm gonna beat you up. Yeah. Well, I'm about to get my brother.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna do nothing to me. You know who my brother is. You know my cousin. Nah, I'm gonna get. Hey, they gonna think twice before they go to move. It's the same as that way as with Karen. Karen thinks that she has this protective system around her to where she can call and she can point out and she can say whatever she wants to say and do whatever she wants to do. And no matter what the actual facts are, these people are going to come in and save her. You get what I'm saying? It's the same. It goes all the way back to how it actually used to be on the plantation. It goes all the way back to exactly how it used to be, after slavery was technically ended in America. It goes all the way going back to when there was segregation legally in this country. It goes all the way back to where you had integration of communities into this country. So now here we are in 2020, and we are still dealing with the ramifications of the plantation. You get what I'm saying? So that's why we really, really need to address what in the world is wrong with Karen. Because Karen, if you notice, man, you seeing video after video after video where Karen is literally losing her righteous mind. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
she is losing it, man. Nothing up. Now you got somebody sitting there grabbing guns, calling the police. But now the safety net that used to be there, it just ain't there no more, brother. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's a very interesting thing. I talked long enough, Keith. So yeah, so that's the backdrop of exactly what I see, man. This is something that stemmed from a long time ago that's been allowed to fester over and over and over and over again.
And then what the thing about it is, again, it goes back to what you were saying, that the first contact that black people had with the white people was in slavery. So anytime that there is an offense within a black versus white type thing, we always begin to think about that first confrontation that we had, which was in slavery. So we always think about the first time we met, which was in slavery. For every offense that's happened now, it's happened in the past, it's going to happen in the future, we're going to always go back to that first initial contact, which is slavery. So it's going to always be an issue, because we're going to always revert back to what it used to be.
Yeah, and I'm not going to put it so much as us consciously going back, because something like this right here happened, man. Because to be honest with you, I don't have like direct first ties to slavery, like what slavery felt like. It's really a thing I have to kind of imagine more than anything. Exactly. But I don't walk around every single day just thinking, oh man, I'm so sad because my ancestors was enslaved. Like, I can't really picture myself being in it completely. But what I can picture, so for me, it's not a direct conscious thing, but what it does remind me of was when I was in that position, and I had the lady that was when I went to the store, and I was walking around the store. My parents let me walk around the store by myself when I was 6 years old, and the lady's looking at me saying, "What are you doing?" Later, you treating me like a thief. You don't know. See, you didn't know that my parents were right here. You thought I was just walking around the store coming in here to steal something. Nah, so that's what it takes me back to. It takes me back to having those experiences. What I'm looking at is that it's so embedded, because in order for Karen to operate the way that she does, she had to learn it. You know what I'm saying? So the learning 9 times out of 10 came from whoever taught you. And who taught them? Exactly. And who taught them? So you got to take it all the way back to where they were first taught this. And the only way that I can practically see where was first taught at was during this time frame. During the time frame where you had a class of people that felt that they were better than another class of people or another group of people. You get what I'm saying? That group of people just happen to be my ancestors. So now here it is. You can look at a situation such as a little teenage girl walking into a store, and you have a white woman coming out the store, bumping you with the door, the bag, or whatever, but bumping you and ignoring the fact that she did it. That's all she knows, that hey, this lady ain't even say nothing to me. Exactly. She ain't even acknowledged the fact that she did anything. And then now here it is, when I bring it up to you and I say something, you act like I ain't say nothing. You don't want to talk now. Nah, it ain't about you not want to talk. Look, I need to know, did you do this intentionally? Yes or no? Were you aware that you did this? But you don't even want to address it. That means that you are looking at me in a way that, hey, I am nobody. You know what I'm saying? And
I can push into you, and I ain't got to explain why I pushed into you.
Yeah. So I mean, we're coming out of this conversation. I think the best thing, is that
we got a comment from Betty Gibbert.
Okay.
Betty Gibbert said racism nor slavery has never ended. The Caucasian race just found new ways to enslave our people, whether it is through jobs, what we are paid or how we progress in life and in the world.
That's interesting.
That's
Very
good.
interesting. Now you know you're gonna have people that don't really get that or understand that either.
Exactly.
Okay, now let me see. Matter of fact, we appreciate that comment there. We got one part up here. How you doing, mother?
Hey, Mama Hunter.
Okay, yeah. What is Karen? Is that a metaphor for racism? No, ma'am. And we tried to explain at the very beginning. I don't know if you caught it or not, but Karen has been. Hold on. Is that a metaphor for race? Yeah. In a way, it kind of is. But yeah, yes, actually, it is. With Karen, that is basically a new phrase that people are using, because you think about it, say, well, what's wrong with Karen? For us, it allows for us to kind of laugh at it, but we're also acknowledging that, hey, this is what this is. Because if we don't, you're gonna have people that typically just get pissed off, and we want to respond in a pissed off manner, which doesn't always end well. But when we can categorize it and use it as a funny name or a funny term, we can just realize, oh, this is stupid. This is an ignorant person, and then just keep it moving in a way to where we can address it. So Karen is just a name that is used, of course, of a person who feels that they have a sense of privilege that allows for them to be able to manipulate situations consistently in their favor. It just so happens to be that these situations always have to do with people of color. That's pretty much Karen. And I'm not even gonna say that, to be honest with you, there have been quite a few incidents that have been popping up to where it's just not black folks.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's not really people of color. That's why we don't know what is wrong with Karen. Because Karen doesn't just do this to black people. Karen literally walks around and does this almost everywhere she goes. She feels offended by something, or it's something that she just doesn't like. She goes all the way out. And that's why we use the term Karen, because Karen is kind of losing it right now. And we really want for people to kind of get a grip and a hold in this thing, because this could be somebody's auntie, mother, sister, grandma, even a teacher or somebody that actually care about, that doesn't even realize that they're doing.
Exactly.
So that's why we really wanted to have this conversation, because we want to make sure that there's got to be somebody in Karen's corner that can reach out to Karen and touch her in a way that is kind of peaceful, instead of trying to use other means to get Karen's attention. Because Karen is really starting to lose jobs and everything else when they don't have to. It's really kind of simple. So yes, in a way, Karen does represent a form of racism, but it's more of a person that feels that they have a sort of entitlement or a sort of privilege that gives them a right to operate in a manner that could be extremely disrespectful, as well as damaging to other people. Karen is more of a narcissist than anything. She's more of a narcissist than a racist. And that's kind of the bottom line on that one. But great question. You got any other comments over there coming in?
No, boss. I got Shantae Lemon. She said, man, the world we live in, it's best to write some stuff off. That's a small battle. And then Margot Washington said, all lives matter.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, great. Yeah, just like what Shantae Lemon said, sometimes it's better just to write things off. And like I said, with Shantae, I'm glad that you added that. Some things, it's not so much. I'm just not a believer in ignoring. It is very difficult for me to ignore. It's just like the guy that comes on and says all lives matter. Great, buddy. What does that have to do with us?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? What that got to do with me? What are you saying? Are you saying that you have a problem with something I'm saying? Because don't get it twisted. This is what kills me, is that people buy into so much marketed material. I don't care nothing about what somebody market to somebody else, man. I stand for what is truthful and righteous, plain and simple. So if I'm speaking from my place, I'm coming from my place of truth. Now, if you coming from your place of truth, I can respect that. But when you coming from another place to where you just trying to market something, you using something that somebody else marketed to you, and you ain't even got no understanding of it. You know, so now you show up and say, oh, when somebody say, oh, Black Lives Matter, not only response you got it, all lives matter. So anything that looks like it is black to you, the only thing you can do is open up your mouth and say all lives matter. It's because somebody already got to your simple minded behind. Like that's the thing you can't see. That's what kills me about jackasses. You can't see no further than what it is that was given to you. You know, I can respect people that know how to think for themselves. You know what I'm saying? I grew up around rednecks. I love them to death. Why? Because they can think for themselves. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They'll tell you, hey, I lived right near door to a redneck for years, man. That was one of my best friends growing up. They had a Confederate flags, all this stuff. I ain't had no problem with none of it, to be honest with you, because I understood exactly where they came from. They treated me with respect, and I treated them with respect. And we had the conversation when I was younger. Hey, look here, Jason. Hey, man. Hey, we really like you. Matter of fact, man, we love you, man. Almost like a son to me. However, my cousin over here, just don't think about dating his daughter. He's not gonna like it. You know what I'm saying? He comes straight out and say it. You know, I can respect that because you're coming straight out and you're saying it, and you came to that conclusion on your own. You didn't market that. And that's why I say, you know, Shantae, I can definitely, truly appreciate where you're coming from, but I am a person that does not ignore. You know, I believe and I agree. I think I understand exactly what she's putting out. What I believe is that some things are better to be done in a certain manner. Some things you just go ahead and go straight at it. Other things you set up the board and play chess with it. You know what I'm saying? That's where they don't never see it coming, man. So I definitely appreciate the last two comments that you read out, man. I don't know.
So Betty Gibbert comes back. Betty Gibbert says it goes back to the biblical teaching: love thy neighbor as thyself. They fear what they don't understand, and that is the faith, strength, and endurance of the minority. No matter what is thrown at us, we endure through Christ.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. You got any feedback on that one?
It's a true statement, you know, and you know, I think about the golden rule, even in life, you know, treat others as you want to be treated. Let's look at this. What if this was the other way around? What if the teenager bumped into the white lady?
Yeah, she probably been going to jail. That's assault.
Ain't no problem in it. She ain't got to pull no gun. She ain't got to pull no stick. She's going straight to jail. So that's the difference. That's the difference. My thing is, I want to get to a place. And I decree and I declare that one day we're gonna get to that place where if we flip the story, it's gonna get the same outcome.
And I think that's where we're at this particular moment. I believe we're starting to walk down that road, walk down that path. And that was another. I'm glad you hit on that, Keith, because when I looked at it, hey, because I know no matter what, man, even with my rights, right? I don't care what goes down, like anytime, because I believe in defending yourself in whatever manner that accommodates the situation, right?
Exactly.
You know, sometimes, you know, you might be able to stop something, you know, by slapping somebody in the face, they'll step back. You know, you might have to choke somebody, or you might have to punch somebody in the face, or you might have to go toe-to-toe with somebody, and there could be an instance to where your life is truly in danger, and you have the right to defend yourself at all costs. This is what I know, and this is the fact that I've always faced and I've always dealt with, and that's why I made sure that I became very efficient in learning how to conflict resolve. Because what I know is no matter what the situation is, no matter what happens, if I put my hands on anybody, right or wrong, if I pull out a gun on anybody, right or wrong, if I pull out a gun and pull that trigger and shoot somebody, right or wrong, I am going to jail. No ain't no if and buts about it. They putting me in handcuffs and I'm going to the station. We'll figure it out later. Like, that's how it has always been. I grew up knowing this, you know, even being a grown man now, I know this for a fact, you know. So that's where, just hitting on exactly what you just said, you know, with you have like this lady with the situation that happened at the Chipotle with her situation. She didn't have that type of fear. The husband ain't never had that type of fear. They never had to think about anything like that. They just look at, hey, if I'm right, I know the law. You know what I'm saying? So when the police come, they're gonna take them to jail. They're gonna handle it. So I can just do what the law says. But that's not the way that I've experienced America. You know, that's not the way that a lot of people that I know have personally experienced America either. So I think that's what we're seeing is kind of a leveling of the playing field. To be honest with you, you know, I'm not even in agreement with the lady. You know, I think this whole situation, that whole situation in particular, could have truly been avoided. And I believe that if anything, I'm a huge fan of what they call peer mediation, or having some type of mediation, to where the person, you know, when you get into a certain type of issue like that, that's something that we actually did in the schools, man. It's always worked out, you know. Always. But it's something to where you can literally, after an incident happens, you can actually make it to where you got the two parties, they come together, and there's somebody in the middle that's helping them actually have a full conversation every single time. I ain't gonna say every time, because depending on who you talking about, brother. Most of the time, you're gonna have people who can find some type of middle ground and just understand, like, you know what, I could have handled this a little bit different. This is all I was trying to say. I understand where you coming from. This all I know, and they can squash it and move on. You know, I don't think that it means somebody needs to lose their livelihood, but it's definitely nobody needs to lose their life behind something as stupid as this. You know, so that's truly that's truly what I see with that whole situation. We got any more comments out there, man, before we wrap this up?
No, boss. I think that's about it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And who made the all live statement, man? Because you said the name, it sounded familiar.
Which Margot Washington. All lives matter. She said all lives matter.
Okay. All right, we love you. God, peace be amongst you. You know, definitely. Yeah, yes. Yeah. True statement. That's great. You know, true statement. Why you would choose to do that at this particular moment is very interesting to me in the first place. You know, that's where, you know, yeah, man. I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be a very interesting journey, and you know, it is what it is. You know, but definitely, you know, we appreciate everybody from tuning in. So one more, and we definitely appreciate you for sticking around. Now, one more thing in conclusion to wrap this up. Like I said, we want to make sure that we use this information a little bit to kind of warm up. We're kind of looking at this actual situation, right? Because it is something that is prevalent in our communities, and looking at it from both sides of the fence, we want to be able to be honest with you, just plain and simple. If if you are a potential Karen, you know, we don't like it. We want something to change about it. Something's not right about it. We want something to be done different. You know, so there's something. It's time to shift. Yeah, something. Is there something that you can do? If you might possibly, like, if you ever had complaints about you being a racist, or you being you know, you not getting along and having conflicts with other groups of people that might not be just like you, then maybe just ask yourself a question: am I Karen, or could it be me? Just ask yourself that question. Or could I be perceived as this? That way, just start asking yourself the question. Now, on the flip side, with you know, with the people that are encountering these Karens and even the Danners of the world, I think that we definitely need to make sure that we are well equipped, mentally, spiritually as well as physically to handle these encounters, so that no matter what, that we are always left intact. We always come out of the situation a little bit better than when we went in. You know, so just know your strengths and know your
Most
weaknesses.
definitely.
You know, and make sure you do your due diligence, right? So with all that being said, and that's pretty much the bottom line. You know,
Hold
you
on,
got anything to add to that, Keith?
we got one more. Yeah, we got one more comment here. Says Karen will always be Karen. That's why you have to evaluate certain situations, even if you know you're right. Sometimes you just got to turn the other cheek, or it will escalate more than what you bargained for. Not saying you shouldn't stand up for yourself, but the world we live in today will always be this way. Sorry for the late comment.
Yeah, and definitely we appreciate that comment. Who made that?
That's Drika Cooper.
Okay, no, we definitely appreciate the Drika for leaving that comment. Me personally, I done ran out of cheeks to turn, so I you know, I'm not using that option. Not for me. You know, everyone, like I said, everybody has to really, you know, kind of decide for themselves where they stand. You know, with me, I am very well
They
versed.
done slapped on your cheeks enough. They done slapped on your cheeks enough. You ain't
Not
turning
even
no more
trying,
cheeks.
bro. I'm not turning no other cheek, man. Like for me, you know, you hit me one time, but that's it. I'm not gonna turn over and let you hit the other one. I don't play that. Like that's just not for me. You know what I'm saying? To each his own. I'm not living like that. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, to each his own. You know, so I'm fully and when I
And
say
that's the bottom line.
yeah, and when I say that, I'm not coming off saying that, hey, I handle things with violence. What I've learned to do is to structure my life in a way to where, you know, I can deal with these situations to where mentally, spiritually, and physically, I am gonna come out of the situation better than when I came in. Like that's my goal with any encounter. So, and that's why I say you have to kind of know where it is that you stand with it. And this is the thing, because and I know because it's been around so long and so many people have dealt with it over and over again to where we just kind of look at it and write it off and say, oh, well, this is just what it is. And I'm just not a believer in that, because what happens when Karen no longer has a system that's supporting her? What happens then? If the system would magically disappear, everything that's protecting her would magically be out of the way, then what would Karen be then? She wouldn't be Karen no more. Then you can really ignore somebody.
Exactly.
Like you can ignore them. Like when she don't have that protective shield over her, you can ignore it in because she ain't got nothing.
You don't have that
Yeah,
power.
whatever. Yeah. Keep going.
Yep,
But the problem is that in many instances, Karen really does have that protective shield. That's why she's done it. That's why she'll call the police and make up a lie and get away with it. Somebody go to jail for nothing just because somebody said something. You know, shield has been in place, and that shield can't remain any longer. You know, so that's why we have to have people that are equipped to really do something about getting rid of the protective shield that Karen has around her, because it is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? It is dangerous. Do you realize how many people have lost their lives behind somebody telling a bold-faced lie about them? You know, that has that privilege around them. You know, police show up and they automatically choose her over anybody else. That is dangerous. That is deadly. And that has been a problem. So that is definitely something, like I said, we have to know ourselves and know what it is that we can handle, where we fit into the formula in the equation. Me, I'm not a cheek turner. Like,
so Betty Gilbert said, if all the protections are removed, Karen stops crying wolf.
Boom. Boom. There you have it. There you have it.
And that's the bottom line.
And that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's definitely it, man. So I mean, if we don't really want to see Karens no more, then we need to do something about that protective shield that's protecting her, as well as maybe talking to Karen to get her to come behind that shield a little bit. I don't know if she's willing to do that or not. You know, All lives matter. Yeah, yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
What about black on black crime? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Solid Hawthorne, narrow-mindedness. Definitely, Miss Solid. We definitely appreciate you for joining. Definitely narrow-mindedness.
Hey, Miss Hawthorne.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was your teacher, wasn't it? Keith, you can
Yeah. That was back in my time.
Keith, we made it all the way through the show, man, and now you having technical difficulties. How that happen?
I told you that was the bottom line from the get-go. It's time to wrap it on up.
Oh, buddy. Okay, man. All right, yes, I guess it's a wrap for it. We appreciate everybody that showed up tonight. And we definitely look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. We're gonna do it again, same time. Different subject. We might even bring a guest to the show. If anybody wants to be featured on the show, you want to be a part of the show, you got our inboxes. Just let us know what's on your mind. Just hit us up, let us know what's on your mind. What are you thinking about? As well as what's on your mind. Just hit us up. We're very approachable. All right, cool. So with all that being said, Keith, you ready to close us on? Let me see. Karen's the white woman who falsely accused of black men. Okay, thank you, Shalita Shantae, for sharing that. All right, so she put it in a nutshell form. Karen's the white woman who falsely accused black men. Okay, all right. Yeah, and we kind of addressed that a little bit because that is just one side of it. What we're noticing is not it doesn't just relate just to black people. We've seen Karen kind of use her privilege in so many different forms, shapes, and fashions. So you got to look at it for what it truly is. And once again, it's the systematic approach. That's the problem. It's somebody getting privileges off a system that has been working to their advantage for years, for a long, long time. All right, cool. Exactly. So with all that being said, you want to go ahead and close on now, Keith?
Well, if our hearts and minds are clear until next week, same date, same time. This is Coach Jay and Keith McIntyre. We out. Peace.
Yes, sir. Shift. The new world is here.